body and soul. Yeah, Licorice Alive, folks. That's the clarinet with the all-time classic standard anthem of heartbreak. That tune, Body and Soul, was played by everybody from Billie Holiday to Amy Winehouse, on the horns from Louis Armstrong to Coleman Hawkins to John Coltrane. This song, most definitely, has been a gut-searing anthem of heartbreak across the decades and generations. Let's see, with lyrics by Edward Heyman, Robert Sauer, and Frank Aaron, and music by Johnny Green, Body and Soul really was... Well, it first reached audiences in 1930 in a little-known Broadway review called Three's a Crowd. And since then, like I said a moment earlier, Body and Soul has been a touchstone standard and been recorded by anybody with a voice and a horn and, yes, with a soul. So there you go, my little version. One chorus of Body and Soul. And also, as a point of information, there's a cool version on the soundtrack of my movie, The Solar Opposite. So check the movie out, and you can hear a kind of an upbeat, very cool version of the Body and Soul. The score was by Peter Himmelman, and check it out, the movie and the soundtrack. Okay, folks, welcome to episode 3, season 2 of Rebel Without Applause. My cause without applause. I'm coming to you, as always, from the cozy confines of my movie studio apartment right here in the Wood of the Holly. And I had a little delay in this installment. I was in Reno as a merchant of mirth, a lonely comedian up there in the snow and the rain and the casinos, trying to collect some laughs and a little cash to sustain myself in the land of law, but I'm back. And I am now ready for the guts of this next podcast. And for today's installment, I just definitely want to dispense with any social commentary and dive right back into Act 3 of this, the podcast premiere of Shakespeare's Hamlet, Prince of Denmark. Now, picking up where we left off, the fingers of crime, corruption, and Coverup have tightened their unholy grip on the shark pit that is Elsinore and Denmark. And with the arrival of the roving theatricals, those displaced tragedians from the city, Hamlet offers up a speech of his own authorship, off his own pen, to be included in the play The Murder of Gonzago, which he has ordered, has Hamlet, to be performed by these tragedians of the city, these displaced theatricals. This play is to be performed before the court. Hamlet's scheme, as it were, is to hold a mirror up to nature and catch the conscience of the king. And so we begin anew. With all manner of urgency, Claudius the king leads Gertrude, his wife, Polonius, and Rosencrantz, and Hamlet's friends, Guildenstern, and a retinue of subservients down a stone chamber deep in the bowels of Elsinore. The king, desperate for intelligence into Hamlet's so-called lunacy, hammers Rosencrantz, the king. And can you by no drift of conference get from him why he puts on this confusion, grating so harshly all his days of quiet with turbulent and dangerous lunacy? He does confess he feels himself distracted, adds Rosencrantz, but from what cause he will by no means speak. Nor do we find him forward to be sounded, says Guildenstern, but with a crafty madness keeps aloof when we would bring him on to some confession of his true state. Asked the queen, did he receive you well? Most like a gentleman, but with much forcing of his disposition, says Rosencrantz, negative question, but of our demands most freely in his reply. Asked the queen, did you essay him to any pastime? Madam, it so fell out that certain players we all wrought on the way. Of these we told him, and there did seem in him a kind of joy to hear of it. They are here about the court, and, as I think, they have already order this night to play before him. Says Polonius, 'tis most true, and he beseeched me to entreat your majesties to hear and see the matter. Well, with all my heart, and it doth much content me to hear him so inclined, adds the king. Good gentlemen, give him a further edge, and drive his purpose into these delights. We shall, my lord, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, depart with lords. The king, sweet Gertrude, leave us too, for we have closely sent for Hamlet hither, that he, as 'twere by accident, may here affront Ophelia. Her father and myself, lawful espials, will so bestow ourselves that, seeing unseen, we may of their encounter frankly judge and gather by him as he is behaved, if it be the affliction of his love, or know that thus he suffers for. I shall obey you, answers the queen. And for your part, Ophelia, I do wish that your good beauties be the happy cause of Hamlet's wildness. So shall I hope your virtues will bring him to his wonted way again, to both your honours. Madam, I wish it may, says Ophelia. The queen exits. Polonius steps forward, approaches his daughter. Ophelia, walk you here. Gracious, so please you. We will bestow ourselves. And read on this book, that show of such exercise may colour your loneliness. We are oft to blame in this, 'tis too much proved, that with devotion's visage and pious action we do sugar o'er the devil himself. Oh, 'tis true, says the king. How smart a lash that speech doth give my conscience. The harlot's cheek beautied with plastering art is not more ugly to the thing that helps it than is my deed to my most painted word. Oh, heavy burdened. Ah, says Polonius, I hear him coming. Let's withdraw, my lord. The king and Polonius withdraw. Hamlet enters. To be or not to be, that is the question. Whether 'tis nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against the sea of troubles and by opposing end them. To die, to sleep no more, and by a sleep to say we end the heartache and the natural thousand shocks that flesh is heir to. 'Tis a consummation devoutly to be wished, to die, to sleep, perchance to dream. Aye, there's the rub. For in that sleep of death, what dreams may come when we have shuffled off this mortal coil must give us pause. There's the respect that makes calamity of so long life. For who would bear the whips and scorns of time, the oppressor's wrong, the proud man's contumely, the pangs of despised love, the law's delay, the insolence of office, and the spurn that patient merit of the unworthy takes, when he himself might his quietus make with a bare bodkin? Who would burdens bear to grunt and sweat under a weary life, but that the dread of something after death, the undiscovered country from whose bourne no traveller returns, puzzles the will and makes us rather bear those ills we have than fly to others that we know not of? Thus conscience does make cowards of us all, and thus the native hue of resolution is sickled o'er with the pale cast of thought, and enterprises of great pitch and moment with this regard their currents turn awry and lose the name of action. Soft you now. The fair Ophelia. Nymphonae orisons, be all my sins remembered. Ophelia approaches. Good my lord, how does your honour for this many a day? I humbly thank you well. My lord, I have remembrances of yours that I have longed to redeliver. I pray you now receive them. No, not I never gave you aught. My honoured lord, you know right well you did, and with them words of so sweet breath composed has made the things more rich. Their perfume lost, take these again, for to the noble mind rich gifts wax poor when givers prove unkind. There, my lord. Are you honest, my lord? Are you fair as Hamlet? What means your lordship? That if you be honest and fair, your honesty should admit no discourse to your beauty. Could beauty, my lord, have better commerce than with honesty? Aye, truly, for the power of beauty will sooner transform honesty from what it is to a bawd than the force of honesty can translate beauty into his likeness. This was sometimes a paradox, but now the time gives it proof. I did love you once. Indeed, my lord, you made me believe so. You should not have believed me. I loved you not. I was the more deceived. Get thee to a nunnery. Why wouldst thou be a breeder of sinners? I am myself indifferent, honest, but yet I could accuse me of such things that it were better my mother had not borne me. I am very proud, revengeful, ambitious, with more offences at my beck than I have thoughts to put them in, imagination to give them shape, or time to act them in. What should such fellows as I do crawling between heaven and earth? We are arrant knaves all, believe none of us. Go thy ways to a nunnery. Where's your father? At home, my lord. Let the doors be shut upon him, that he may play the fool nowhere but in's own house. Farewell. Oh, help him, you sweet heavens. If thou dost marry, says Hamlet, I'll give thee this plague for thy dowry. Be thou as chaste as ice, as pure as snow, thou shalt not escape calumny. Get thee to a nunnery. Farewell. Or if thou wilt needs marry a fool, for wise men know well enough what monsters you make of them. To a nunnery go, quickly too. Farewell! Heavenly powers, restore him. I have heard of your paintings too well enough. God hath given you one face, and you make yourselves another. You jig and amble, and you lisp. You nickname God's creatures, and make your wantonness your ignorance. Go to, I'll no more on it. It hath made me mad. I say we will have no more marriage. Those that are married already, all but one shall live. The rest shall keep as they are. To a nunnery go. Hamlet exits. Ophelia is alone. Oh, what a noble mind is here o'erthrown. The courtiers, soldiers, scholars, eye, tongue, sword, the expectancy and rose of the fair state, the glass of fashion and the mold of form, the observed of all observers, quite down. And I, of ladies most deject and wretched, that sucked the honey of his music vows, now see that noble and most sovereign reason like sweet bells jangled out of time and harsh, that unmatched form and stature of blown youth blasted with ecstasy. Oh, woe is me to have seen what I have seen, see what I see. The king advancing with Polonius. Love, his affections do not that way tend. No, they do not that way tend. Nor what he spake, though it lacked formula, it was not like madness. There's something in his soul o'er which his melancholy sits on brood, and I do doubt the hatch and the disclose will be some danger, which for to prevent I have in quick determination thus set it down. He shall with speed to England for the demand of our neglected tribute. Haply the seas and countries different with variable objects shall expel this something settled matter in his heart, whereon his brain still beating puts him thus from fashion of himself. What think you on it? Polonius. It shall do well. But yet do I believe the origin and commencement of his grief sprung from neglected love. How now, Ophelia? You need not tell us what Lord Hamlet said. We heard it all. My lord, do as you please, but if you hold it fit, after the play, let his queen mother all alone entreat him to show his grief. Let her be round with him, and I'll be placed, so please you, in the ear of all their conference. If she find him not, to England send him, or confine him where your wisdom best shall think. It shall be so, says the king. Madness in great ones must not unwatched go. They exit. Enter Hamlet, and 3 of the tragedians of the city, those actors, the players. Hamlet. Speak the speech, I pray you, as I pronounced it to you, trippingly on the tongue. But if you mouth it, as many of our plays do, I had as lief the town crier spoke my lines. Nor do not saw the air too much with your hand thus, but use all gently. For in the very torrent, tempest, and as I may say, whirlwind of your passion, you must acquire and beget a temperance that may give it smoothness. Oh, it offends me to the soul to hear a robustious, periwick-pated fellow tear a passion to tatters, to very rags, to split the ears of groundlings who, for the most part, are capable of nothing but inexplicable dumb shows and noise. I would have such a fellow whipped for o'erdoing termagant, it out Herod's Herod. Pray you, avoid it. I warrant your honor, says the player. Be not too tame neither, but let your own discretion be your tutor. Suit the action to the word to the action, with this special observance, that you o'erstep not the modesty of nature. For anything so o'erdone is from the purpose of playing, whose end, both at the first and now, was and is to hold as 'twere the mirror up to nature, to show virtue her own features, scorn her own image, and the very age and body of the time his form and pressure. Now this o'erdone or come tardy off, though it make the unskilful laugh, cannot but make the judicious grieve, the censure of the which one must in your allowance o'erweigh a whole theatre of others. Oh, there be players that I have seen play and heard others praise, and that highly, not to speak it profanely, that neither having the gait of Christians, nor the gait of Christian, pagan, nor man, have so strutted and bellowed, that I have thought some of nature's journeymen had made men, and not made them well. They imitated humanity so abominably. I hope, says the player, we reform that indifferently with us, sir. Oh, adds Hamlet, reform it altogether. And let those that play your clowns speak no more than is set down for them, for there be of them that will themselves laugh, to set on some quantity of barren spectators to laugh too, though in the meantime some necessary question of the play be then to be considered. That's villainous, and shows the most pitiful ambition in the fool that uses it. Go, make you ready. Exit the players. Enter Polonius, Guildenstern, and, yes, Rosencrantz. How now, my lord, will the king hear this piece of work? Asked Hamlet. Polonius, and the queen too, and that presently. Bid the players make haste. Polonius exits. Will you two help hasten them? Aye, my lord, they exit. What ho! Horatio! And so enters Horatio. Here, sweet lord, at your service, says Horatio. Horatio, thou art even as just a man as ever my conversation coped withal. Oh, my dear lord. Nay, do not think I flatter, for what advancement may I hope from thee, that no revenue hast but thy good spirits to feed and clothe thee? Why should the poor be flattered? No, let the candied tongue lick absurd pomp, and crook the pregnant hinges of the knee, where thrift may follow fawning. Dost thou hear? Since my dear soul was mistress of her choice, and could of men distinguish, her election hath sealed thee for herself. For thou hast been as one in suffering all that suffers nothing, a man that fortune's buffets and rewards has taken with equal thanks, and blessed are those whose blood and judgment are so co-meddled that they are not a pipe for fortune's finger to sound what stop she please. Give me that man that is not passion's slave, and I will wear him in my heart's core, I in my heart of heart, as I do thee. Something too much of this. There is a play tonight before the king. One scene of it comes near the circumstance which I have told thee of my father's death. I prithee, when thou seest that act afoot, even with the very comment of thy soul, observe my uncle. If his occulted guilt do not itself unkennel in one speech, it is a damned ghost that we have seen, and my imaginations are as foul as Vulcan's stithy. Give him a heedful note, for mine eyes will rivet to his face, and after we will both our judgments join in censure of his seeming. Well, my lord, answers Horatio, if he steal aught the whilst this play is playing, and scape detecting, I will pay the theft. Ah, says Hamlet, they are coming to the play. I must be idle. Get you a place. Enter trumpets and kettle drums. Enter the king, his wife, the Queen Gertrude, Polonius, Ophelia, Rosencrantz, Guildenstern, and other lords, attendants, and various subservients, and the king's guard carrying torches. The king takes his place near his throne in front of a space that is where the actors will do the play. The king, how fares our cousin Hamlet? Ah, says Hamlet, excellent to faith of the chameleon's dish. I eat the air promise crammed. You cannot feed capons so. I have nothing with this answer, Hamlet. These words are not mine. No, nor mine, no, says Hamlet. To Polonius, my lord, you played once in the university, you say. That did I, my lord, answers Polonius, and was accounted a good actor. What did you enact? I did enact Julius Caesar. I was killed at the Capitol. Brutus killed me. It was a brute part of him to kill so capital a calf there. Be the players ready. "Aye, my lord," answers Rosencrantz. "They stay upon your patience." Says the queen, sitting next to the king. "Come hither, my dear Hamlet, sit by me." "No, good mother," indicating Ophelia. "Here's metal more attractive." Hamlet takes a place near Ophelia, who reclines against a pillow. He angles up next to her. Polonius to the king. Ho! Do you mock that?" Hamlet. "Lady, shall I lie in your lap?" "No, my lord." "I mean my head upon your lap." "Aye, my lord." "Do you think I meant country matters?" "I think nothing, my lord." "That's a fair thought to lie between maids' legs." "What is, my lord?" "Nothing." "You are merry, my lord." "Who, I?" "Aye, my lord." "Oh, God, you're only jig-maker. What should a man do but be merry? For look how cheerfully my mother looks, and my father died within 2 hours. Nay, 'tis twice 2 months, my lord." "So long? Nay, then let the devil wear black, for I'll have a suit of sables." "Oh, heavens, died 2 months ago, and not forgotten yet. Then there's hope a great man's memory may outlive his life half a year." And now a dumb show follows. That is a pantomime. Enter a player king and the player queen, who very lovingly the queen embraces the king and he her. The queen kneels and makes a show of protestations unto the king. The king takes her up and declines his head lovingly upon her neck. He lies himself down, does the king, upon a bank of flowers. She, the queen, seeing him asleep, leaves him. Anon comes in another man, takes off the king's crown, kisses it, pours poison in the sleeper's ears, and leaves him. The queen returns, finds the king dead. She makes passionate action, wild gestures. The poisoner, with some 3 or 4, come in again, seem to condole her. The dead body is carried away. The poisoner woos the queen with gifts. She seems harsh a while, but in the end accepts his love. The players exits. Ophelia. What means this, my lord? Hamlet. Marry, this is mischief. Belike this show imports the argument of the play. Enters the prologue. We shall know by this fellow, says Hamlet. The players cannot keep counsel. They'll tell all. Will he tell us what this show meant? Aye, or any show that you will show him. Be not you ashamed to show. He'll not shame to tell you what it means. You are not. I'll mark the play. The prologue steps forward. For us and for our tragedy, here stooping to your clemency, we beg your hearing patiently. He exits. Hamlet, is this a prologue or the posy of a ring? 'Tis brief, my lord, as woman's love. Enter the player king and the player queen. The player king steps forward. Full 30 times hath Phoebus' cart gone round Neptune's salt wash and Tellus' orbed ground, and 30 dozen moons with borrowed sheen about the world have times 12/30s been, since our love, our hearts, and hymen did our hands unite commutual in most sacred bands. Adds the player queen. So many journeys may the sun and moon make us again count o'er ere love be done. But woe is me, you are so sick of late, so far from cheer and from your former state, that I distrust you. Yet though I discomfort you, my lord, it nothing must. For women fear too much, even as they love, and women's fear and love hold quantity in neither art or in extremity. Now what my love is, proof hath made you know, and as my love is sized, my fear is so. Where love is great, the littlest doubts are fear. Where little fears grow great, great love grows there. Player king. Faith, I must leave thee, love, and shortly too. My operant powers their function leave to do, and thou shalt live in this fair world behind, honored, beloved, and haply, one as kind for husband shalt thou. Oh, confound the rest, interrupts the queen. Such love must needs be treason in my breast. In second husband let me be accursed. None wed the second, but who killed the first? That's wormwood, says Hamlet. The instances that second marriage move are base respects of thrift, but none of love, says the player queen. A second time I kill my husband dead when second husband kisses me in bed. Player king, I do believe you think what now you speak, but what we do determine oft we break. What to ourselves in passion we propose, the passion ending, doth the purpose lose, so think thou wilt no second husband wed, but die thy thoughts when thy first lord is dead. The player queen, both here and hence pursue me lasting strife, if once a widow ever I be wife. Says the player king, 'tis deeply sworn, sweet, leave me here a while. My spirits grow dull and faint, I would beguile the tedious day with sleep. And so the player king reclines on a bed of flowers and descends into sleep. Sleep, rock thy brain, says the queen, and never come mischance between us twain. The player queen exits. Madam, says Hamlet, how you like this play? Says the queen, the lady doth protest too much, methinks. Oh, but she'll keep her word. The king, have you heard the argument? Is there no offense in it? No, they do but jest, poison in jest. No offense to the world. What do you call the play? Hamlet, the mousetrap. The play is the image of a murder done in Vienna. Gonzago is the duke's name, his wife Baptista. You shall see anon. 'Tis a knavish piece of work, but what of that? Your majesty and we that have free souls, it touches us not. Enter Lucianus, the player Lucianus. Says Hamlet, this is one Lucianus, nephew to the king. You are as good as a chorus, my lord, adds Ophelia. I could interpret between you and your love if I could see the puppets dallying. You are keen, my lord, you are keen. Lucianus holds a black vial of liquid before him. Thoughts black, hands apt, drugs fit, and time agreeing. Confederate season, else no creature seeing. Thou mixture of rank midnight weeds collected with Hecate's band, thrice blasted, thrice infected. Thy natural magic and dire property, unwholesome life, usurp immediately. He pours poison in the sleeping king's ears. Says Hamlet, he poisoned him in the garden for his estate. His name's Gonzago. The story is extant and written in very choice Italian. You shall see anon how the murderer gets the love of Gonzago. Claudius, disturbed, rises. Says Ophelia, the king rises. What? Faulted with false fire? Queen, how fares my lord? Polonius, give o'er the play. The king, give me some light. Light, away. Lights, yells Polonius. But Hamlet and Horatio scatter. The players disperse. The men with torches run away. Everybody's gone but Hamlet and Horatio. Hamlet, why let the strucken deer go weep, the heart ungalled play? For some must watch, while some must sleep. Thus runs the world away. Would not this, sir, in a forest of feathers, if the rest of my fortunes turn Turk with me, with 2 provincial roses on my raised shoes, get me a fellowship and a cry of players? Half a share, says Horatio. A whole one I. Oh, good Horatio, I'll take the ghost's word for £1,000. Didst perceive? Very well, my lord. Upon the talk of the poisoning, I did very well note him. Come, some music, come. The recorders, for if the king like not the comedy, why then belike he likes it not pedi. Come, some music. Enter Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. Guildenstern, good my lord, vouchsafe me a word with you. Sir, a whole history. The king, sir, aye, sir, what of him? Is in his retirement marvelous distempered. With drink, sir? No, my lord, with choler. Well, your wisdom should show itself more richer to signify this to the doctor, for to me to put him to his purgation would perhaps plunge him into more choler. Good my lord, says Guildenstern, put your discourse into some frame, and start not so wildly from my affair. I am tame, sir. Pronounce. The queen, your mother, in most great affliction of spirit, hath sent me to you. You are welcome. Nay, good my lord, this courtesy is not of the right breed. If it shall please you to make me a wholesome answer, I will do your mother's commandment. If not, your pardon in my return shall be the end of my business. Sir, I cannot. What, my lord? Make you a wholesome answer, says Hamlet. My wit's diseased, but, sir, such answer as I can make you shall command, or rather, as you may say, my mother. Therefore no more, but to the matter, my mother, you say. Then thus she says, your behaviour hath struck her into amazement and admiration. Oh, wonderful son that can so astonish a mother! But is there no sequel at the heels of this mother's admiration? Impart! She desires to speak with you in her closet ere you go to bed. We shall obey, were she 10 times our mother. Have you any further trade with us? Rosencrantz, my lord, you once did love me, and do still by these pickers and stealers. Good my lord, what is your cause of distemper? You do surely bar the door upon your own liberty if you deny your griefs to your friend. Sir, I lack advancement. How can that be when you have the voice of the king himself for your succession in Denmark? Aye, sir, but while the grass grows, the proverb is something musty. Enter the players with recorders, little panpipes. Ah! The recorders, let me see. He takes one, and I turn to Guildenstern, does Hamlet. To withdraw with you, why do you go about to recover the wind of me as if you would drive me into a toil? Oh, my lord, if my duty be too bold, says Guildenstern, my love is too unmannerly. I do not well understand that. Will you play upon this pipe? My lord, I cannot. I pray you. Believe me, I cannot. I do beseech you. I know no touch of it, my lord. It is as easy as lying. Govern these ventages with your fingers and thumb. Give it breath with your mouth, and it will discourse most eloquent music. Look you, these are the stops. But these, says Guildenstern, cannot I command to any utterance of harmony. I have not the skill. Why, look you now how unworthy a thing you make of me. You would play upon me. You would seem to know my stops. You would pluck out the heart of my mystery. You would sound me from my lowest note to the top of my compass. And there is much music, excellent voice in this little organ, yet cannot you make it speak. Blood! Do you think I am easier to be played on than a pipe? Call me what instrument you will, though you can fret me, you cannot play upon me. Enters Polonius. Ah, says Hamlet, God bless you, sir. My lord, the queen would speak with you, and presently. Do you see yonder cloud that's almost in shape of a camel? Polonius looks to the sky. By the mass, and 'tis like a camel indeed. Says Hamlet, methinks it's like a weasel. It is back like a weasel. Or like a whale. Very like a whale. Then I will come to my mother by and by. They fool me to the top of my bent. I will come by and by. Polonius, I will say so. By and by is easily said. Leave me, friends. And they do. Hamlet is alone. 'Tis now the very witching time of night, when churchyards yawn and hell itself breathes out contagion to this world. Now I could drink hot blood and do such bitter business as the day would quake to look on. Soft! Now to my mother. O heart, lose not thy nature. Let not ever the soul of Nero enter this firm bosom. Let me be cruel, not unnatural. I will speak daggers to her, but use none. My tongue and soul in this be hypocrites, how in my word somever she be shent. To give them seals, never my soul consent. Hamlet exits. Enter the king, Rosencrantz, and Guildenstern. I like him not, nor it stands safe with us to let his madness range. Therefore prepare you. I your commission will forthwith dispatch, and he to England shall along with you. The terms of our estate may not endure hazard so near as doth hourly grow out of his brows. Guildenstern, we will ourselves provide most holy and religious fear it is to keep those many bodies safe that live and feed upon your majesty. King, arm you, I pray you, to this speedy voyage, for we will fetters put about this fear which now goes too free-footed. We will haste us, and to exit Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. Enters Polonius. My lord, he's going to his mother's closet. Behind the arras, I'll convey myself to hear the process. I'll warrant she'll tax him home. And, as you said, and wisely was it said, 'tis meet that some more audience than a mother, since nature makes them partial, should o'erhear the speech of vantage. Fare you well, my liege. I'll call upon you ere you go to bed and tell you what I know. Thanks, my dear lord, says the king. Polonius exits. The king is alone. Oh, my offense is rank, it smells to heaven, it hath the primal, eldest curse upon it, a brother's murder. pray, can I not, though inclination be as sharp as will? My stronger guilt defeats my strong intent, and like a man to double business bound, I stand and pause where I shall first begin in both neglect. What if this cursed hand were thicker than itself with brother's blood? Is there not rain enough in the sweet heavens to wash it white as snow? Oh, what form of prayer can serve my term? Forgive me my foul murder. That cannot be, since I am still possessed of those effects for which I did the murder, my crown, mine own ambition, and my queen. May one be pardoned and retain the offense? In the corrupted currents of this world, offense's gilded hand may shove by justice, and oft is seen the wicked prize itself buys out the law. But 'tis not so above. There is no shuffling. There the action lies in his true nature, and we ourselves compelled even to the teeth and forehead of our faults to give in evidence. What then? What rests? Try what repentance can. What can it not? Yet what can it when one cannot repent? Oh, wretched state! Oh, bosom black as death! Oh, limed soul that struggling to be free art more engaged! Help! Angels, make essay! Bow stubborn knees and heart with strings of steel. Be soft as sinews of the newborn babe. All may be well. The king kneels in prayer. From behind, Hamlet enters. Now might I do it, Pat. Now he is a-praying, and now I'll do it. Hamlet withdraws his rapier, and so he goes to heaven, and so am I revenged. That would be scanned. A villain kills my father, and for that I, his sole son, do this same villain sent to heaven. Why, this is hire and salary, not revenge. He took my father grossly, full of bread, with all his crimes broad blown, as flush as May, and how his audit stands, who knows, save heaven? But in our circumstance and course of thought, 'tis heavy with him. And am I then revenged to take him in the purging of his soul, when he is fit and seasoned for his passage? No. Up sword, and know thou a more horrid hent. Hamlet sheathes his rapier. When he is drunk asleep, or in his rage, or in the incestuous pleasure of his bed, at game of swearing, or about some act that has no relish of salvation in it, then trip him that his heels may kick at heaven, and that his soul may be as damned and black as hell, whereto it goes. My mother stays. This physic but prolongs thy sickly days. Hamlet exits, and the king rising from his prayers. My words fly up, my thoughts remain below. Words without thoughts never to heaven go. The king exits. Enter in the lady's queen's chamber the queen and Polonius. Polonius, he will come straight. Look you, lay home to him. Tell him his pranks have been too broad to bear with, and that your grace has screened and stood between much heat and him. I'll silence me even here. Pray you, be round with him. Mother, 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 shouts Hamlet. Ah, says the queen, I warrant you, fear me not. Withdraw, withdraw, Polonius, I hear him coming. Polonius withdraws behind the arras. Enters Hamlet. Now, mother, what's the matter? Hamlet, thou hast thy father much offended. Mother, you have my father much offended. Come, come, you answer with an idle tongue, says the queen. Go, go, you question with a wicked tongue. Why, how now, Hamlet? What's the matter now? Have you forgot me? No, by the rood, not so. You are the queen, your husband's brother's wife, and would it were not so, you are my mother. Nay, then, I'll set those to you that can speak. Come, come, and sit you down. You shall not budge, mother. You go not till I set you up a glass where you may see the inmost part of you. What wilt thou do? Thou wilt not murder me. Help! Ho! Help! Behind the arras, Polonius shouts, What? Ho! Help! Hamlet! What now? How now? Rat! Dead for a ducat! Dead! He pulls his rapier and thrusts it through the arras. Oh, says Polonius, I am slain. Oh me! What hast thou done, Hamlet? Nay, I know not. Is it the king? Oh, what a rash and bloody deed is this! A bloody deed almost as bad, good mother, as kill a king and marry with his mother. As kill a king? Aye, lady, it was my word. Hamlet pulls Polonius from behind the arras. Thou wretched, rash, intruding fool, farewell. I took thee for thy better, take thy fortune. Thou find'st to be too busy is some danger. Mother, leave wringing of your hands. Peace, sit you down, and let me wring your heart, for so I shall, if it be made of penetrable stuff, if damned custom have not brazed it so that it be proof and bulwark against sense. What have I done that thou wearest, that thou darest wag thy tongue in noise so rude against me? Such an act that blurs the grace and blush of modesty, calls virtue hypocrite, takes off the rose from the fair forehead of an innocent love, and sets a blister there, makes marriage vows as false as dices, oaths. Oh, such a deed as from the body of contraction plucks the very soul, and sweet religion makes a rhapsody of words. Heaven's face does glow o'er this solidity and compound mass, with heated visage as against the doom is thought sick at the act. Ay me, says the queen, what act that roars so loud and thunders in the index? Look here, upon this picture and on this, the counterfeit presentment of two brothers. See what a grace was seated on this brow, Hyperion's curls, the front of Jove himself, an eye like Mars to threaten and command, a station like the herald Mercury, new lighted on a heaven-kissing hill, a combination and a form indeed where every god did seem to set his seal to give the world assurance of a man. This was your husband. Look you now what follows. Here is your husband, like a mildewed ear blasting his wholesome brother. Have you eyes? Could you on this fair mountain leave to feed and batten on this moor? Ha! Have you eyes? You cannot call it love, for at your age the heyday of the blood is tame, it's humble, and waits upon the judgment. And what judgment would step from this to this? Sense, sure you have, else could you not have motion. But sure that sense is apoplexed, for madness would not err, nor sense to ecstasy was ne'er so thralled, but it reserved some quantity of choice to serve in such a difference. What devil was it that thus hath cozened you at husband blind? Eyes without feeling, feeling without sight, ears without hands or eyes, smelling songs all, or but a sickly part of one true sense could not so mope. Oh, shame, where is thy blush? Oh, Hamlet, speak no more. Thou turn'st mine eyes into my very soul, and there I see such black and grained spots as will not leave their tinct. Nay, says Hamlet, but to live in the rank sweat of an enseamed bed, stewed in corruption, honeying and making love o'er the nasty sty. Oh, speak to me no more. These words like daggers enter into my ears. No more, sweet Hamlet. A murderer and a villain, a slave that is not the 20th part, the tithe of your precedent lord, a vice of kings, a cutpurse of the empire and the rule, that from a shelf the precious diadem stole and put it in his pocket. No more, shouts the queen, a king of shreds and patches. And there, above the mantle, enters the ghost. Save me and horror over me with your wings, you heavenly guards. What would your gracious figure? Alas, says the queen, he's mad. Hamlet, do you not come, your tardy son, to charge it lapsed in time and passion? Let's go by the important acting of your dread command. Oh, say, the ghost, do not forget. This visitation is but to whet thy almost blunted purpose. But look, amazement on thy mother sits. Oh, step between her and her fighting soul. Conceit in weakest body, strongest work. Speak to her, Hamlet. How is it with you, lady, says Hamlet. The queen, alas, how is it with you that you do bend your eye on vacancy, and with the incorporeal air do hold discourse? Forth at your eyes your spirits wildly peep, and as the sleeping soldiers in the alarm, your bedded hair, like life in excrement, start up and stand on end. O gentle sun, upon the heated flame of thy distemper, sprinkle cool patience. Whereon do you look? On him, on him. Look you how pale he glares. His form and cause conjoined, preaching to stones, would make them capable. Do not look upon me, lest with this piteous action you convert my stern effects. Then what I have to do will want true color, tears perchance for blood. The Queen, to whom do you speak this? Do you see nothing there? Nothing at all, says the Queen, yet all that is I see. Nor did you nothing hear? No, nothing but ourselves. Why, look you there. Look how it steals away, my father in his habit as he lived. Look where he goes even now, out at the portal. The ghost disappears. The Queen, this is the very coinage of your brain, this bodiless creation. Ecstasy is very cunning in. Ecstasy, says Hamlet. My pulse as yours doth temperately keep time and makes us healthful music. It is not madness that I have uttered. Bring me to the test, and I the matter will reword, which madness would gambol from. Mother, for love of grace, lay not that flattering unction to your soul, that not your trespass but my madness speaks. It will but skin and film the ulcerous place, whilst rank corruption mining all within infects unseen. Confess yourself to heaven, repent what's past, avoid what is to come, and do not spread the compost on the weeds to make them ranker. Forgive me this my virtue, for in the fatness of these pursy times, virtue itself of vice must pardon beg, yea, curb and woo for leave to do him good. Oh, Hamlet, thou hast cleft my heart in twain. Oh, throw away the worser part of it, and live the pure with the other half. Good night. But go not to my uncle's bed. Assume a virtue if you have it not. That monster custom all sense doth eat of habit's devil is angel yet in this, that to the use of actions fair and good he likewise gives a frock or livery that aptly is put on. Refrain tonight, and that shall lend a kind of easiness to the next abstinence, the next more easy. For use almost can change the stamp of nature, and either the devil or throw him out with wondrous potency. Once more, good night, and when your desire was to be blessed, our blessing beg of you. For this same Lord, Polonius, I do repent. But heaven hath pleased it so to punish me with this, and this with me, that I must be the stare, scourge, and minister. I will bestow him, and will answer well the death I gave him. So again, good night. I must be cruel, only to be kind. This bad begins, and worse remains behind. One word more, good lady. What shall I do? Asked the Queen. Not this by no means that I bid you do. Let the bloat king tempt you again to bed, pinch wanton on your cheek, call you his mouse, and let him for a pair of reechy kisses, or paddling in your neck with his damned fingers, make you to ravel all this manner out, that I essentially am not in madness, but mad in craft. 'Twere good you let him know. Be thou assured, dear Hamlet, if words be made of breath and breath of life, I have no life to breathe what thou hast said to me. I must to England, you know that. Alack, says the Queen, I almost forgot. 'Tis so concluded on. There's letters sealed, and my two schoolfellows, whom I will trust as I will adder's fang, they bear the mandate. They must sweep my way and marshal me to knavery. Let it work, for 'tis the sport to have the engineer hoist with his own petard, and it shall go hard, but I will delve 1 yard below their mides and blow them at the moon. Oh, 'tis most sweet, 1 in 1 line, 2 crafts directly meet. This man here shall set me packing. I'll lug the guts into the neighbor room. Mother, good night indeed. This counselor is now most still, most secret, and most grave, who was in life a foolish prating knave. Come, sir, to draw toward an end with you. Good night, mother. And Hamlet exits, tugging at the dead corpse of Polonius. Curtain, Act III. Wow. Boy, that is fun. I'll tell you, for an actor, that is like chewing on the biggest raw steak you can imagine. Act III, Hamlet. Well, we are going to continue this odyssey into the lower depths of crime, corruption, and cover-up. That ever most distant and abstract mirror offered by William Shakespeare, that being Hamlet, written somewhere around 1600, 418 years later. I am ever so thrilled to bring it back into life for its podcast premiere. Who knows? Who knew? If you hang in there, Pay your dues. Good things will happen to those that wait. And so it has for Shakespeare, or at least for me. And we're going to continue next week, dive into Act 4. And we're more than halfway through now, this journey. And once again, I want to thank you for hanging in and sharing this with me, because I can say this, that my need to do this far outweighs most definitely anybody's interest in hearing me do it. But I hope it is rewarding nonetheless. So till next week, next time, adios, goodbye, and adieu.